See, this is. Oh, we're live.
Are we live?
Yeah, it says you're live. So cool.
So much for a countdown.
No, that's awesome. So, this is our first lunch with Lovely. Well, it's not the first, but it's the first with this new setup that we have going on. So we're pretty excited, and we're trying it out. So, Rainee Romero here with, of course, attorney Justin Lovely.
How's everybody doing?
So, Justin, explain kind of what we're doing with these Lunch with Lovely.
Yeah, so if people who follow us and they're part of our audience know that we have the Carolina Justice Report, which is very popular right now. And if you have not watched that, go to YouTube and like and subscribe. But the issue we've saw is that, hey, we can make better comments and give our opinions on these local fast breaking news stories that are coming and hitting the South Carolina community. So we're going to try to do this live video session here to kind of hit on those daily topics. And then, of course, we'll have the more long-form Carolina Justice Report that will keep being more produced and put out on YouTube.
So every day at noon is what we're going to shoot for.
We're going to shoot for, but today's a test.
Today is a test. So what we would like, those of you guys see, we have 3 people watching right now. What we would like for you to do is actually send us a comment, because we're testing everything out today to make sure that we can do these kind of Lunch with Lovely every day. And I want to make sure that we can get those in, and I know what they look like. So if you're watching and you can just like send some sort of hello or any kind of comment, I'm just curious what it looks like when it comes in.
Yeah. And hopefully it's a good comment, and topics that you want to hear us talk about too, because we always think we know what our audience wants to hear, but sometimes it feels like we're talking to a wall. So any interesting local news story, anything like that you want to hear us either talk about on this show or on the Carolina Justice Report, we're open for all ideas. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on that. We need to get. Oh, Aaron Young. Hey, y'all. That is so cool. Thank you for commenting that. Man, this is so neat.
Yeah.
I like getting it
technology,
in like that.
Right?
Yeah, cool. So cool. Thank you for doing that. All right. So if you are just chiming in, we are testing out our Lunch with Lovelies. This is going to start every day around lunchtime, probably around noon. And we're just going to chat about some different local topics going on, community events, but also a bunch of news stories and current events. So if you're looking for some sort of chatting, or you want to ask Justin a question, just let us know while we're going live here. Thank you for doing that, Aaron. So Justin, I know there's a lot going on lately, especially, do you want to get into Lejeune stuff yet, or you want to wait on that? We'll tease that.
Yeah, well, we're going to be talking about Camp Lejeune, these water contamination lawsuits that may or may not be popping up around here, but we're definitely investigating those later on in this show here. But no, the purpose of this, like I said earlier, we want to kind of tell everybody about these other like legal news stories that they may not hear about, right? Because you may hear something from WBTW, WNBF, or something crazy you see on Fox News or CNN, but there's a lot of other legal issues going on in the world that our viewers may not know about. Yep. And so, we wanted just to bring those to light and just kind of touch on them daily. And then maybe it's interesting to everybody, maybe it's not, but we'll see how it rolls.
Yeah. So what's first on the list?
Well, I get this list from the AAJ news cycle. And basically what they do is they're going through and saying, hey, what's hot in the news as far as stories that relate to the legal community. But some of these hit home, right? And we just wanted to touch base about this. And if there's any comments you want to hear or go into more depth, of course, let us know. And we'll do a more in-depth episode with the Justice Report. But just starting it off, I mean, a big headline today in the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal is Alex Jones. I don't know. You know Alex Jones?
I have no idea who Alex Jones is.
Well, he's that guy who has InfoWars, right? Okay. And he's always doing conspiracy theories and all this crazy stuff. Anyway, his company is filing bankruptcy because they're getting sued based off of his comments in that Sandy Hook massacre.
I did see something pop up about this yesterday. Yeah. That's crazy.
So he was basically saying it was all a hoax. These were the gun massacre. That was crazy stuff.
Horrible thing.
And so anyway, they sued him, and they're bankrupting his company now. So
Yikes.
I don't know. Sorry if you're an Alex Jones fan. Sorry, we're not.
Yeah, you can. You can't joke about stuff like that.
I know. Other news: Allergan is a company that was involved in the opioid lawsuits, and finally they're kicking in some money to the national opioid litigation settlement deal. So they're kicking in $4.3 billion, according to the New York Times. So
what is this national opioid thing?
Well,
settlement?
Yeah, well, that's been going on for years. Basically, the opioid crisis was caused by these pharmacy, the manufacturer of these pills,
Right.
right? And
Mhm.
all this false and deceptive advertising. And basically, once the dominoes start to fall, everybody starts realizing, hey, this company was responsible, this company was responsible, and so now all these other ones are starting to finally kick in, and it's giving different municipalities money from that settlement fund to be able to pay for rehabs, extra officers, different things. It's obviously hurt everybody's
Mm.
in the community.
Yeah.
So the good news is they're starting to settle. These big companies are finally taking responsibility and kicking in money to help all the plaintiffs.
That's good.
Um,
I know we've had a horrible, opioid issue locally, and I'm really
mhm.
proud of a lot of these medical centers who've kind of popped up within the past 2 years or so, with trying to crack down on that. I don't know if you've seen kind of the extra billboards and kind of a push to help our local opioid epidemic, but yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
sad.
hope that that's been
Yeah,
working.
it touches everybody's lives. I mean, I don't know anyone who can say that their life or somebody they know have not been touched by that issue. It's
Yep.
sad
Yep.
stuff for sure.
Hmm. And then we also, we just did the lovely law firm, we're really big into the community. And so every month we do a community service project. And so if you know of one that could use a good chunk of people, 15 to
Oh
20
yeah,
people, I find that when I reach out, sometimes people are like, well, I can use one or two, but maybe not a whole big group like that. But if you know of one that could use us, we just did one last week that was Associated Charities, which was downtown Myrtle Beach, which is amazing. Justin was very touched that day, and Amy as well. But they help our homeless, our local homeless, and those down on their luck. And it's just an amazing organization. We donated a bunch of clothes and bags and kid stuff and whatever to them. And then just going there, they have on Tuesdays, they let homeless come in and just it's like a store for homeless. It's kind of crazy what they do there, but it's tons of clothing, household items, blankets, and they're just doing an amazing job. So I'm glad we found them.
yeah. And get down there, everybody, and meet Cindy and Phil. I mean, they're doing God's work for sure.
Yeah.
And we want to help them get the word out. So that's why reason we're mentioning it today. We also shot them a video. So
Yeah. It's the
uh,
oldest charity in the area.
yeah,
Who knew
which we didn't
that?
know. Yeah,
We didn't know that.
wow.
But I think it's because, they were a little late on their website and digital stuff. And so a lot of people missed out on knowing that they were there. So we're helping them kind of get the word out now. So really cool place.
Absolutely.
So Aaron asked about the Emmett Till case that we were talking about on. Aaron, did you see that on the Carolina Justice Report that came out on last Tuesday? Because we were talking about that. Everybody's so interested about the Emmett Till case. She's saying where they found the warrant for the 80-year-old woman that the family wants her to be served with. Did they find her? She said, how about the Emmett Till case where they found the warrant for the 80-year-old woman? Well, I think they found the warrant when the family was trying to go back through the case because they've never really dropped the case. So the family kind of, was asking the court to go back into looking for evidence, and they found the warrant that way in a box from that year that I guess nobody had seen prior to that. But yeah, that's a really crazy story, and we did a whole Carolina Justice Report discussion on it last Tuesday. So we have that up on Facebook and up on our YouTube, which you can also go and check out. We were talking with attorneys, Sarah Austin and Amy Lawrence on that. And it's just a crazy, crazy
Yeah,
story.
it's a sad story. It's what a nightmare.
Yeah. And if you don't know the Emmett Till case, that was a case back in like 1955 where this poor African-American 14-year-old boy was lynched and murdered. And they found a warrant recently for the woman who I guess said that he had spoken or touched her inappropriately or something like that. They found a warrant for her arrest. And so the family is trying to still, press those charges this late in the game. But, as Amy and Sarah were saying on our discussion, they don't feel like much is going to be able to come of that this late in the game. But yeah, definitely go check that out and watch that. But yeah, crazy story. Thanks, Aaron, for sending that in.
Thanks for the comment.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Any more?
Nope, no more
back
right
to
now.
It?
Yeah, back to it.
Okay. This is important because it's still summertime and everybody is using sunscreen, right? But you got to be very, very careful what sunscreen you use. Okay. And the issue, we saw this with Neutrogena last year when those were recalled because these sunscreens have benzene, which is a cancer causing chemical in them. Okay. So basically you're spraying these all over your little kids, your babies, yourself to think you're going to block from a sunburn. And then you can develop I mean, you can develop cancer, leukemias, things like that. So this was a batch just recalled of banana boat sunscreens, according to the New York Times. So
Wow, I did
definitely
not
pay
know
attention.
that.
Check your bottles if it's recalled. To throw it out immediately. Actually, don't throw it out. Preserve it in case there's an issue. So we can preserve the evidence. But uh, definitely stuff that you have to. You wouldn't even think about that, right? Especially people coming down to the beach. They go to the Walmart or whatever and just buy them some sunscreen and go out to the beach. But this is stuff you gotta stay on your toes and be aware of in today's world.
Well, yeah, especially in our area with sunscreen. That's scary. There's always
Absolutely.
always so many things like the cancer causing ingredients. I mean, I feel like it's so many things these days. You have to check everything.
It's in everything. Yeah. Amy makes fun of me because I wear long sleeve t-shirts and everything when I go out to the beach and everything, but
Do you
I don't even
really?
take
You do long
Tylenol. Yeah, I'm one
sleeves.
of those long sleeve guys. I'm sitting there, but
What's the point?
I know.
What's the point of even going?
I know.
Do you burn easily?
Oh yeah. You kidding?
Do
Look at me.
you?
Yeah.
Well,
That's my
I mean,
problem.
getting burned stinks. So I can understand wanting to avoid that.
Yeah.
I don't burn very easily, but when I do, it's miserable. I'm miserable.
Well, let's talk about Camp Lejeune and the water
Okay. And if you guys
contamination.
are just watching us, we are doing Lunch with Lovely. This is our test run today. So this is our very first one. We figured it's August 1st. It's a good time to start this. So we're kind of testing things out today, making sure you guys are able to see us and hear us. And also, this is interactive. So anybody who's watching us live can send in any kind of comments or questions, and we will see those and respond to those. So it's really cool. But we're going to do this every day around lunchtime, around noon is what we're hoping for. And yeah, we're just catching up on topics of the day, local news, world news, legal topics, all that good stuff. So yeah. So
Let's
Lejeune.
yeah,
So
let's
we're gonna
start this
pop up a
got a little
slideshow here.
presentation.
If I can pull it up.
So Camp Lejeune, everybody understands that's in North Carolina, and the reason we're talking about it here is, we represent clients all across South Carolina, but mainly along the coast, Myrtle Beach and Charleston communities. And we feel there's maybe a lot of former Marines and their families who have retired down here to Myrtle Beach and Charleston. So what's happening is, we can go on to the next slide there. So basically, the water was contaminated and the government knew about it. And what was happening is, during the Cold War, when we're trying to develop all these different weapons and chemical weapons and different chemicals and other things up in Camp Lejeune, they were storing all these chemicals in different holding tanks. Okay. Well, holding tanks that were developed in the 1930s, 1940s, what's going to happen? They're going to leak. Okay. And where do those chemicals go? They go into the groundwater. And the government knew about this. And basically, if you were taking a shower, if you were a Marine on duty, sipping water, just washing clothes, anything like that, you were being exposed to these harmful chemicals in the drinking water. It's caused terrible, for like a period of 35 years, just terrible birth defects, health problems. And so we're investigating these kind of cases to see if there's something that the lovely law firm could do to help the families and obviously injured Marines. We're looking at cases that you might think, hey, these cases are older than 3 years, which is the normal statute of limitations in South Carolina, but we're not thinking that's going to be an issue. And we're going to be able to look back way back, as long as you lived and were exposed to drinking water for at least 30 days on Camp Lejeune from, make sure I got these dates right, I believe it's 1953 to 1987. So it's a 35-year time frame we're looking back on. And so what will happen is, obviously you served or your family was there exposed to the water. And then later on in life, you're developing these health issues. And so let's go to the next slide here. The different kind of cancers, obviously, is the main presumptive diseases that we're looking for. And, you can go to our website, justiceslovely.com, and we can kind of, you can see what these presumptive cancers would be if you were living on base and exposed to this water. But if we go to the next slide, there's even more injuries that, sorry, I'm delayed here when I'm watching, but there's more
Okay.
injuries that could qualify for a potential lawsuit that we're investigating. And so, of course, this is going to take a long time. We got to work up the science. We got to work up any kind of epidemiology and all that to see what's going to be a compensable case, if there's a case at all. So,
well, but this is terrible. I mean, I'm reading this: infertility, birth defects, cancer, injuries in the brain. And and this one, how long did this go on for?
35 years.
35 years. In Camp
Yeah.
Lejeune, I mean, I'm from the area. It's right next door. We used to take weekend trips up there. It's like a 3-hour drive, 3.5 hours. And I mean, and the fact that this is a military base too is just makes it all that much worse. I mean, here we are with people serving our country. They know it's going on and don't do anything.
It's unbelievable.
It's just terrible. It's
But
terrible.
hopefully, there'll be an end in sight, and we'll be able to at least give these families some sort of closure and help them out. Again, it's early on. We don't know how long if these claims will even manifest at all. But we're definitely want to get the word out that we're looking into these. We're going to investigate these for our
Right.
clients. I'll be shooting some more videos to do more of a educational push. Because we always like to try to put our YouTube videos out to teach everybody about every possible thing that could happen with these kind of new lawsuits. And so that content will be going up. But yeah, it's a terrible story, man.
Yeah. It's just more about the birth defects that happened with the moms. I mean, just terrible.
Yeah, it's not good stuff.
No.
But keep that in mind as you're watching, and reach out to us if you think you or a loved one or anyone. I mean, these could be your grandparents, could be your parents. Reach out to us and we'll investigate it. Of course, we're always looking into these cases. We don't charge anything to look at a case. We'll give you a free consultation and let you know if it's something we can help you with.
Yep. And also, moving on kind of past Camp Lejeune, and I just hate that story. I mean, and this, before I leave, this is going to be going on for the next 2 years, you said?
Well, what we're thinking, if the bill passes, there'll be a 2-year statute of limitations to get your claims in. Okay. And, we'll shoot more content. Of course, we'll do a whole Carolina Justice Report. So make sure you subscribe so you see that episode.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to go into detail about, what will qualify, what will be the statute of limitations, what the burden of proof is going to be, and what we'll need to actually prove your case and bring it forward. We'll be going into all that in more detail.
Gotcha. And of course, you guys, we're going to be doing these weekly lunches. So if you guys think of a question that pops up, we'll be on here every day to bother you every day about it. So, let us know. But also, we'll be putting up some informational videos up on YouTube as well. Justin is going to a conference or something this week?
Yeah, I'll leave tomorrow. So I'm going to a conference tomorrow. We'll be back, and then hopefully next week. Yeah, we get something
just going. To get, even more details about how all of it's going to work with Camp Lejeune. So, you'll definitely start seeing a lot more of that as we move forward. But anyway, kind of, localizing it, August is kind of like the beginning of the end for summer, right? So right now we're kind of all trying to squeeze in the last little bit of summertime vacation weeks and fun. And we're gearing up for back to school. So lots of back to school events going on. I think we're going to try and do a back to school thing as well, but also be on the lookout for our back to school ebook. So this is coming out. Justin, tell them a little bit about that.
Yep. So Rainee had this great idea. She says, look, all these parents have their kids going back to school. We're talking about safety, but that's an aspect that everybody forgets about. And what do we mean by that? Well, car seats, that's an issue. Some people may have teenage drivers that are starting to drive going to school now when the school traffic kicks back up. And then, playground issues, other issues with kids. And so what we wanted to do is say, hey, what a better time to raise awareness about children's safety than back to school. So Rainee's worked hard on this ebook. We're going to get it out. We say ebook, it's going to be ebook, and it's going to be a printed book as well. So
tangible.
Yeah. If you want a copy, if you're not on my list already, just reach out to us, send Rainee an email or send us a message on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll make sure you get one. But if you're already a client, you're going to get one. Check your mailbox and we'll get that going hopefully the next week or so, because school starts in 2 weeks, right?
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It just sneaks up on you. Mine are too little to go to school. Mine are 3 and 1. So they're not quite there yet. But yours are.
Yeah, we're having to go to 2 schools this year. So
really?
Yeah, because one's in elementary, one's in middle school. So
okay. Middle school is the scary years.
I know.
But yeah, that's gonna be a really great helpful tool, because as Justin says, it covers a lot of stuff, with car seat guidelines and good stuff like that. But also, it has a list of your emergency numbers that you should have. And, just helpful tips, because I feel like, with moms, we're like inundated with all sorts of information of how to keep our kids safe, or maybe there's a lack of information of how to keep our kids safe and tips. And so we're kind of making it easy for you and putting it all in this one book. to just kind of help you as we're getting out of the vacation mode and back into our normal flow of the school year. So hopefully that'll help a lot of folks out.
And our clients love our books. Our motorcycle book has been downloaded by, I think last time we checked, 5,000 riders. So that's wild. We've got our nursing home book that's been downloaded several hundred times. We have our main car wreck book in production. And then, of course, this new child safety book. I think it's going to be a hit for everybody.
Yeah, it'll be helpful. At least I know I'm going to have one, so it'll be good for us. And we're going to be coming out with a lot of these different booklets that are just meant to help folks in the area with different tips and laws that you may not be aware of, and everything, ways that we can help you. So yeah, I think it'll be really helpful. We're going to come out with kind of a new driver's one as well for those, as Justin said, that are new to driving. And we find statistically that that young age range, 16 to 19, is the ones that unfortunately end up in a lot of car accidents. But it makes sense because they're new, and that's kind of their training period in a way. I hate to say it like that, but so we're trying to help with that need of further educating our new drivers and giving them a heads up on the laws and ways that they can protect themselves.
Absolutely.
So we are at about 20 minutes. I'm pretty proud of us. We've lasted this long on here.
Our goal was an hour. You think we can go an hour?
An hour? Good Lord. I think we could go. I feel like you could go an hour.
I could go an hour. I just got to keep talking. I can talk about anything.
Yeah. So if you're just watching, these are our Lunch with Lovely. We're going to do this every day around lunchtime. So you can eat your lunch and watch us talk. Yay. But we're going to have lots of fun topics, localized and national news that, are just interesting. And it's always cool to have a lawyer's perspective on these things, because what I've learned with doing the Carolina Justice Report, which is our YouTube show that comes on Tuesdays at 2 p.m., is that there's just such a different perspective from your side, because I don't have a law background. Most of our viewers watching don't have a law background. So when I watch a case like the Johnny Depp or an Amber Heard or whatever, even this Emmett Till one that we did, or the Murdaugh murders, all these things, I'm watching from a different perspective of like, oh, that's a crazy detail. And oh, like, I wonder what's going to happen. And oh, this and that. Whereas a lawyer is kind of watching that and thinking, oh, how would I work this case? What are they going to try and prove? What are they going to try and not prove?
Mm-hmm.
How is this going to work in the end? How long is it going to take? All these things, which I think is really interesting for the normal person who doesn't know those details. So yeah, pretty cool.
But you're getting a law degree, right? You've been working here for quite a. You should know
I might as well get one.
It's going to change. It's going to change your perspective.
I have grown so much with brain
knowledge.
Space. Yeah. Knowledge. I'm going to start calling it lawledge. We're going to have lawledge tips every day.
There you go.
But it's interesting. But this is an interactive live stream that we're doing right now. We're going live to multiple social media outlets. And what's cool about this is that we can communicate with you guys in real time. So as we discuss things, or, if there's something that we haven't discussed, even, you guys can chime in and let us know if there's something you're curious about, something that's going on in the area, even a local event, or maybe a charity that we should be aware of, something like that. It's really open to whatever discussion you'd like. So
let me check the local news before we get off, and then we'll call it a day, because
okay.
I think this is a pretty good test here.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we should have led with this, but a huge verdict in Horry County came down. Was it yesterday or was it Friday?
Today's
Monday,
Stephen
right?
Flood?
No, it wasn't Stephen Flood. This was against the lifeguard company.
Oh, I don't know about this.
$27.7 million verdict. But the McLeod law firm got. So big kudos to them. Great verdict for this family.
What happened?
But basically, Lax Beach Service lifeguards were renting umbrellas and beach chairs, and basically just not paying attention to someone, and they ended up getting caught in the rip current and drowned, unfortunately. So
yikes.
This was from what I understand. I don't know all the full details, but from what I understand, he was a young father, and just a terrible tragedy case. And
so somebody drowned, and the lifeguard wasn't paying attention.
Correct.
So
correct.
They got sued
when they assumed the duty of taking care of that section of the beach. So what a nightmare.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's terrible all the way around. I used to lifeguard at Myrtle Waves when I was in high school. I did it for 2 summers, and what a scary job to lifeguard. I mean,
a lot of responsibility.
It's a ton of responsibility to have these people's lives, in your hands, and to have to constantly kind of be scanning looking for those kinds of things. I mean, it's a terrible thing to happen, especially if they were, being negligent with it. But a
Well,
lifeguard job is not one that I would want to do.
right. Well, and then the other issue is these people have to be trained and ready. I mean, all the lifeguards I see are little kids, right? Well, what I would
Yeah,
call a kid. I mean, they're young people or
they're
they're
younger. Yeah,
J1 people, not even from. They're coming over for a year from overseas. That's scary in and of itself. And I
yeah.
don't know exactly how they framed this case, but they definitely had to frame this as a system failure, and that's how we want to
Mhm,
present this.
mhm.
If we were trying this case, but because when it's shown as a system failure, that's when Rainey can say, "Oh my God, that could happen to me. That could happen to my my
Yeah,
dad or whoever's out there swimming." And then obviously they were able to ring a bell and send a message, allow the jury to speak and be a consciousness of the community and speak to what should and should not have happened on
yeah.
that day. But it's very
Terrible.
sad,
Well,
terrible.
and unfortunately, being a tourist destination, we do, deal with a good bit of drownings that happen every year, whether it's at a hotel or at a pool or, in the ocean. And it's just an unfortunate thing when you're dealing with water. So water safety is a huge thing. And also with when you're dealing with the ocean and people who don't know the ocean and they come and visit and they don't
Hmm.
understand the rip currents, they don't understand like the ins and outs of the waves and stuff. I mean, it can happen quickly where it just kind of takes you. And so I think understanding how the ocean works if you're not from it is important too. Even if you are from it. I mean,
Yeah,
heck, I've been caught before where it's taken me way down the beach and before you know it.
got to respect the water
So
at all
yeah,
times. Yeah,
it's
very
it's
scary.
scary for sure. That's unfortunate. So, you know, something like that, how does that work on the back end law wise? So he drowned and then they went to a law firm to kind of say like, hey,
Yeah,
what can we
so
do about
so
this?
so they must have it would have been a wrongful death case, right? And
Mhm.
from what I understand, there was a wrongful death portion, and then there was a survival action. So that means I guess he had lived for some point in time before he passed away. So
Oh,
they brought both of those cases here in Horry County against the what I believe the beach service, and then there might have been a couple other entities. I'm not too sure of the specific facts, but no, they have to prove that they were negligent in some way. And
yeah.
again, that's what I was saying. They'll probably frame that as a system. The whole thing collapsed based on something that was or was not done, inadequate training, inadequate supervision, something along those lines. And in fact, we probably need to do a justice report about this and really deep dive into that case because
Yeah.
that's a major case here at the beach and really the whole coast of South Carolina. This should be an eye opener for other
Mhm.
municipalities or lifeguard companies that are going to
Right.
provide these services. There's certain things that you have to do when you assume that duty,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because we don't want nobody, we don't want any deaths, no drownings, right?
Right. Right. That's
So
so
just
sad.
especially if it could be completely avoidable,
Right.
ridiculous.
Yeah. That's terrible. I hate that. I don't know how the J1, do you know how that stuff works? I mean, J1, I always thought so not to go off topic here, but J1, obviously we love J1 students because they come over and they help us when I mean we don't have enough people to provide employment for all the tourists that come here. So obviously, we have outsourced that with J1 students, but I
Yep.
always thought that they were young. I always thought that these were like I don't know, college kids or high school even or something. But I realized that they actually don't have to be. They can be like in a line of work that is related to something we need and be, an adult. And I only know this because I met somebody the other day who is a J1 and I don't even know what J1 stands for. Do you know what J stands for the J1?
I have no idea.
But
Don't do
but
immigration in
she
this office.
she was older and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that that was a thing." So, it'd be interesting to know how many we get from other countries. I mean, it's gotta be a
Well,
ton.
before COVID, I mean, we had probably 4 or 5 times as many, right? But they're
Yeah,
starting to come back over here. Now that
right.
the travel restrictions have been laxed. But what was I going to say? Oh, so it's customary. When Americans, when we stop high school, what do? We
College.
go to college.
Yep.
So it's customary in Europe and Russia when you're done with your high school, whatever they call their not undergrad, but their high schooling.
Right.
They it's expected to take a year off. And so what they will do is they'll travel to America to work for a
That's
year, and
interesting.
that's where they get. So they try to come over here on a J
Oh,
one
that's
visa,
interesting.
and they work, and then they usually go home. Now that's the younger ones. How the older ones, I don't know. Yeah, they can
Right.
get a job if they're working
Yeah.
before they get their full status. They could qualify under that. But again, I don't practice immigration law,
Right.
so.
Yeah. No, I just thought it was interesting. I mean, especially as a local who's been here, you always see them year after year. And it's just kind of interesting, the process for that or how many. We had, again, I'm off topic here, but we had an exchange student when I was younger. She came over from Japan. And I always think that process is really interesting too. But
Do they live with you?
yeah, she lived with us for a year from Japan. I was in like fourth grade, but she was in high school. So my mom still keeps in touch with her because they really bonded through that experience. But yeah, even my husband, his family had an exchange student from Germany, who they still keep in touch with. So I always find that interesting as well, the whole exchange program.
Were they going to high school, or what were they doing?
So yeah, for ours, she came and lived with us for a year, and I was in fourth grade, and she went to Conway High School. I can't remember what grade she was in, but she was in high school. And then yeah, for my husband's side, he was living in Ohio, but yeah, he was like the same grade as his younger brother. So yeah, they went to school together, and
That's cool.
he comes and visits all the time. I've met him a couple times, so it's interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
The exchange
Absolutely.
student programs. I could see you guys doing that.
Yeah, maybe.
I could see you and Amy doing that. What country would you do?
I don't know how that whole program. I have to figure it out, investigate
I know. All right. Any other local news you see on there that looks cool?
I don't know if you're a Clemson fan, you're not going to want to hear this, but Deshaun Watson looks like he agreed to or was suspended for 6 games. I don't know. I knew they were negotiating when I was watching this on ESPN, but for all those different allegations, but something had to be truth. I don't know, but he's suspended for 6 games this year. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
That's more you than me, Justin. I am not a huge sports person.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sin to not be either USC or Clemson sided here, but I feel like I can kind of escape the rivalry by just
I'm a Tennessee fan. I don't know if that's on there, but I get it from everybody.
Yeah. That looks like this Tigers colors though.
Yeah, I know. Different shade of orange.
Oh, okay. Sure. Okay. But yeah, I just stick with Coastal. And then everybody's a Coastal fan if you're local here, right?
Yeah. Coastal's awesome, man.
I'm not Clemson or USC. I'm just Coastal.
Yeah, there you go. Well, if I had to choose between Clemson or USC, I would pick Coastal. So there you go. All right.
The moderate.
What do you think? I think that's enough for today. But again, we appreciate everybody coming and watching our little test here. We're going to try to get this, keep it going and keep it organized and make this be a supplement to our Carolina Justice Report. Again, if you've never seen the Carolina Justice Report, that's available on YouTube. It's available on Facebook. We also, if you like audio, we put it as a podcast anywhere you consume your podcast media. So look for those dropping. Those drop every Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Yeah, those are really awesome because, it's a little bit different from this because we have one topic that we discuss and we really do a deep dive into it. And I'm hosting, and usually we have a couple of our attorneys that are there really giving the meat of the cases as far as how it's going to work and the story and all that stuff. But we have done some really great ones, especially with our Murdaugh murders. I mean, if you haven't heard of the Murdaugh murders or the Murdaugh family, I mean, it's huge. I didn't really know about it before I started working here. And then I quickly learned all about it. But yeah, I think we've done like 5 episodes at this point on just that story because it's localized, right? It's in South Carolina, but then there's also just so many crazy
twists and turns as well.
It's like the weirdest movie you've ever seen.
You can't make it up. It's like, are you kidding me? Every time that something drops. So
people across the world are invested in this story, and it just keeps going, and new facts keep coming out. So yeah, that if you're into the Murdaugh murders, we have 5 great episodes on there for you, including one that we just came out 2 weeks ago, and we're getting ready to shoot another one. The latest one was with the indictment of Alex Murdaugh. So yeah, so we have a lot of those, and those are a little bit different from this, as I said, because it's all one topic that we really kind of go into detail with. So if you have any ideas or stories you want to hear about, let us know. But we'll be here tomorrow for lunch. Now
we're gonna try to, if we can do it before I catch my plane to go to my CLEs, and we'll see.
That's true. Gosh, I hope so, because
we might take a break.
You'll just see me for talking for forever. So I'll need some people to come up here. But we also have, of course, other attorneys that will be joining us on this show for lunchtime. We have Sarah Austin and Amy Lawrence here. We also have JP Simkovich, is that how I said it right? Who heads up our Charleston office. And then we have a great new attorney, new to us. She's been doing it for at least like 10 years. But Sharday Crawford, who is with us, and we're going to get her in front of the camera.
Glad to have her part of the team. She brings a unique perspective, and yeah, we're going to add her to the mix. It'll be great.
Yeah, so you'll see some different faces. But yeah, well, this was fun. A good test
Good job,
run.
Rainee. You did
Yeah,
good.
you
did
did
great.
good,
You
Justin.
did great.
All right, you
All
guys.
right.
Thanks for joining in here, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow.
See you next time.